everybody, today I'm going to rock your world. We're making individual sized chiffon pumpkin pies, little individual ones. And it's going to have a nice cashew crust with it that's nice and decadent. The pie is light and fluffy and creamy. It goes great after a heavy Thanksgiving meal. And I tell you, those of you that love pumpkin pie, and especially those of you that do not like pumpkin pie, you really should try this recipe. It is really good. And I think that, 80% of you that try it, you're going to convert over, and this is going to be your new Thanksgiving dessert. I'm pretty sure about that. So I'm Rockin' Robin, and I'm going to show you how to do it right after this. Let's go over our ingredients briefly. You want to get the written recipe, click down below the video in the description area. Click where it says show more and you'll get all the written ingredients. First up, we have some canned pumpkin. I bought this at Trader Joe's. You want nothing in it but just pumpkin, no spices. Next up, we have some coconut milk, full fat. You want to refrigerate that. It'll separate the fat from the water and it just makes it easier to work with. We'll need some brown sugar, ground cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, 3 eggs, which we're going to separate, vanilla extract. We'll need some sugar, some salt. I have a container here of water, which I'm going to add some Knox gelatin, which we'll need. I have some Kerrygold butter, a little bit more sugar, and raw cashews for our crust. So the first thing we're going to do is take that dish of water that I showed you, and we're going to add to it the Knox gelatin. So what the Knox gelatin does in the recipe is it keeps the consistency nice and thick so it doesn't get runny. So just pour that into the water and give it a stir, and then we're going to place this in the refrigerator until we're ready to use it. And now we're going to work on our crust. I'm preheating my oven now to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to add the cashews to our food processor along with our sugar. We're going to sprinkle in a little bit of cinnamon to give it just that hint of flavor that ties in with the pumpkin pie, and a pinch of salt. Now we're going to grind this up till it's pretty small. Once the cashews get broken down to this point, you're going to want to add the butter. Now you may have to add more butter than this, but we're going to start with this amount and just see, because it can vary. So pour some of that in. And the vanilla extract. Now I think you can see where the cashews are coming together now. Let's have a look. So if I pick it up with my fingers, you want it to be able to stick together so that it creates a crust, right? That looks pretty good. I'm going to blend it just a little bit more. Look at this. This is perfect. All right. So when I pinch it together, it stays together. So I like to take a tablespoon measurement and just kind of, fill that as sort of my guide. And I'm going to pop, let's put it over here. Pop that right into there, and you're going to press it down into the mold. These are silicone cups that I have here. These guys, they work great. They're reusable. The stuff doesn't stick to them. It's really nice. I highly recommend them. All right, so you're going to pat that in, pack it in, kind of bring it up the side a little bit. Okay, so you can use any nuts you want with this. You don't have to use cashews, but I think they work the best because the flavor doesn't compete with the pumpkin. I've used pecans, and that's a little bit overpowering in my view, but some people like it. You could use almonds, you could use walnuts, whatever you want. So this is ready to go in the oven. It's going to go in, we're going to check it at 8 minutes. I don't want this to burn, but somewhere between 8 and 10 minutes, and then we'll take it out. Now we're going to move into our chiffon pumpkin filling. Now this makes enough for 1 9-inch pie if you choose to do that, or like we're going to do, we're going to make the little individual servings. So we'll start with our saucepan. This is a no-bake recipe, so we're going to cook our pumpkin in the saucepan, and then when our crusts are done, then we'll add it to that when it's cooled off. And you'll do the same if you want to make a pie. Cook your crust first, and then let it cool. Cook your pumpkin on the stove, add it to the pie crust, and then refrigerate, and you're done. All right, I have my pumpkin in my saucepan here, and to that I'm gonna add the brown sugar, and I like to break it up as I put it in because sometimes it's got clumps and it's got hard spots, like this nice big chunk here. That's a real hard one. I'll leave that out. And then we'll add our pumpkin spice. And here's our cinnamon. And I've got just a little bit of salt there. Put that in. And I'm gonna give this a stir. And I'm gonna separate the eggs. And we're only gonna put the egg yolk into the pan. This is the easiest way I find to separate egg yolks from egg whites. But use what works for you. Then place your egg whites in the refrigerator to chill. And give those a stir. Remember I said we refrigerate the coconut milk, right? That way it separates. You can see it's pretty darn hard. And that's okay. Hopefully we can get it out of the can, but we want about a half a cup of this. And that's usually about 1 can's worth. And what's left underneath is the water, which you'll see shooting up here in a minute. Now you can save the rest of this coconut water for smoothies or whatever you want to make. So now we're going to add this to the pan, and we're going to take this over to the stove and we're going to cook it. So here's our pumpkin pie mixture. The white you see here is the coconut fat that's melting. And once this gets all melted and dissolved, we need to cook this for 10 minutes. But the 10 minutes don't really start until you have a simmer going on. So I have this on medium-low right now, and I'll show you what that simmer should look like before we start counting our 10 minutes. Okay, so this is really a weird comment, but because I make Mexican food, this looks exactly like my enchilada sauce, I have to say. It's crazy, huh? All right, so I got the temperature up to medium. I got it medium-high. I'm starting to see some bubbling over here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera yet, but the edges are starting to bubble. All right, now we can start the countdown for 10 minutes. And if it starts bubbling too much, then turn your heat down, okay? So I'm gonna start my timer. Now you want to stir this almost constantly. You have to watch it. I'm going to turn down just a little bit here. You don't want it to burn because it will burn. 10 minutes have passed, so now we're going to turn the heat off and let this sit for just a second. You can see how much, it's much creamier now. The eggs really make it nice and creamy. And now we're going to pull out that Knox gelatin that we put in the fridge. Let me show you that. So here is the Knox gelatin that I placed in this dish and added water to it, right? And so now you can see if I jiggle it, it's pretty firm, right? So now that's gonna go into our pumpkin mixture. So here we go, we just pour it in, and the heat from the pumpkin will melt it and dissolve it. So just stir it until it's completely mixed in. So while we're waiting for our pumpkin pie mixture to cool down, now would be a great time to subscribe to my channel by clicking that subscribe button and the bell next to it, and that will notify you every week when my new videos come out. Now for the pumpkin pie, we need to let that chill for, at least probably 20 minutes. We can place it in the refrigerator or put it on a bowl of ice to cool it down, because our next step is to add our egg whites. It's time to take our egg whites. Remember, we've chilled them in the refrigerator. It's important that they're very cold. I'm going to place them in my mixing bowl here, and we're going to add a little bit of sugar and a pinch of salt, and we're going to whip this up till they're nice stiff peaks. Whip the egg whites until they become nice and stiff, which will take about 5 to maybe 8 minutes. All right, so once you get your egg whites nice and fluffy like that, it's time to add your pumpkin mixture. Now, don't let your pumpkin mixture get too cold, because then it's harder to blend in. So pour that all in, and then you're gonna stir it. Now, if you happen to get your pumpkin mixture too firm and it's hard to just stir in like this, then you're going to want to use the blender, or the mixer I should say, to blend it in. So just fold this in until everything is well blended and it's one uniform color. Now it looks pretty soft right now, but after it sits in the fridge for a while, it will definitely firm up. So you just want to spoon it in there the best you can. Now, like I said, you got plenty of mixture here to make a nice 9-inch pie for sure. You might even have a little extra. That's another option. Another option is to just take a custard dish like this and fill it and just have a mini pumpkin pie with no crust. I'm whipping up a little bit of whipping cream here because I've got to have that with my pumpkin pie. It's just the way to eat it, right? So make sure you use whipping cream that is just whipping cream, you know, just cream on it. Read the ingredients because you'll be surprised when you go to the supermarket and you pick out some and you'll look at it and you'll go, what the heck is Caribbean? You know, they add things to this that you don't need. That I just want cream in my stuff. All right, so I'm just going to whip this up real quick, add a little bit of sugar to this and some vanilla. This will take me about 3 minutes to whip up. I'll be right back. Now I want to show you the consistency that this pie filling turns into after it's chilled for 24 hours. I made this yesterday and it's been in the fridge for like 24 hours. And I want to show you how firm it is, but yet it's light and creamy and delicious. And I'm going to put a little bit in this little container here, and I'm going to take a bite of it just because I can, and top it with a little bit of my whipping cream. And I'm also going to take a bite out of the ones that I just made. It's going to still be a little runny, but I just want to taste the whole thing together for you and just tell you what it's like. It is so delicious. It's like clouds in your mouth. I mean, it's just fluffy and light and delicious and pumpkin-y and creamy. Do I need to say any more? Let me try the one, I pulled it out of the fridge. Let me pull the whipping cream on there. Now, since it's still kind of soft, I'm not going to try and take it out and hold it up like a cupcake. I'm just going to take my spoon and dig in there and get some of that crust. I think I missed. I think the cashew crust works really, really well with this. It's not overpowering. You know, the star of the show is the pumpkin, and the cashew crust just supports that. It's got a hint of cinnamon to it. It's buttery from, you know, obviously we added the butter. And there's a little sweetness with the cashews. Oh, it's perfect. It's delicious. You can eat it either way and really, really enjoy this. So try it, okay? Promise me you'll try it at least one time. I'm going to convince you yet that this is the pie for Thanksgiving. Give it a go. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I certainly love making it. I love having it every Thanksgiving. I have not had traditional pumpkin pie since I had this type of pie originally many, many years ago. There's just no interest in going back. This is just so much better. And I think you're gonna find it the same as well. So let me know down in the comments, all right, if you're gonna try it. And if you do try it, certainly let me know what you think about it, because I wanna hear. And I'm going to be taking this pie to a party coming up here in a couple of days. And I'm going to take a poll and I'm going to see what they say. And I'm going to get back to you guys down in the comments. So make sure you come back and read that. All right. See you next time.